Now you got your Mickeys, which is short for Mick. But if the guy goes by the name Mickey, he is not a front man. If he calls himself Mick, he could be. But Mickeys are usually professional athletes. You don't get a lot of Micks who are baseball players, but you get a lot of Mickeys who are baseball players, and good ones too. Mickey Mantle, for instance. Now you do have your Mickey Mouse, which is more of a cartoon, so that doesn't really apply here. So Mickeys, the name of a beer that I kind of like too, as a matter of fact. But Mickeys and Micks, two completely different names, okay? That brings us to the name Nick. If your name is Nick, you're probably a bully, okay? So you get a lot of Nicks who start out as bullies, and they're usually very big people. They're usually very dark and hairy, and they're very huge. They're just big people to begin with, naturally big, and they're usually just natural bullies because they're big and nobody bothers them, and they can bully anybody they want to, so they do. Now, as they grow up, Nicks usually become much more mature, and they learn from their mistakes because they went through mistakes quicker than anybody else, so they become very nice people, but they're kind of recluses. You know, you get a lot of Nicks who are, they'll become an actor or something like that, they want to prove something to themselves and somebody else or whoever else, their families, and so they'll become an actor or just a baker or a butcher. A lot of butchers and bakers are named Nick because they just pretty much are obscure. They just kind of fade into the background after a while. They're still very big, though, and being a baker named Nick or a butcher named Nick definitely contribute to your eating habits. And big guys are usually eaters. They're big eaters. If you get a Nick who's a butcher or a baker, he gets to eat for free, and he stays very big. Nicks, unfortunately, don't live as long as most people because they are bigger. Their heart has to work harder, so they're not around as long. Now you got your Frank. Franks are usually not that smart, unfortunately. I had a few friends, I won't give the names of them, but name were Frank, and they pretty much will either inherit money. Any Frank that's doing well had to have inherited the business from the family, or inherited money, or gotten something passed down to them that they then pursue, because it's something that was given to them. Franks don't usually obtain things on their own because they don't have that ability. They just don't know how to. Many of them don't have to, because a lot of guys named Frank, usually only child, single child, no siblings, they end up with everything from their family, whatever it is. That's for Frank. Now Glens and Franks are very similar. Now Glens are usually assistants to somebody. Usually never the guy. They're usually the assistant to the guy. They know how to do things because they learn by being the assistant, but they never become the guy. They stay the assistant because they're much more comfortable that way. Glenn.